Yep, I'm still alive. Today, let's see how to get my arm in the right position. Let's get into it. Spin it. Hey DMD family, welcome back to another Discs MD video. Bunky here, and yeah, I am alive. Had a lot happening, family, work, sickness, vacation, and since I don't get paid for this is the first thing that gets dropped. So it's been a while, but we're back at it. We're in my garage. Haven't done one in the garage for a while, but it's cold and breezy and snowy outside, so I figured I'd just do it in here. It's just easier. It's still cold in the garage, but not as cold as being in the wind. So a couple admin things to get out of the way. I have all my links for my affiliates in the description below. Salty Unicorn Disc Golf Apparel makes awesome jerseys, so check them out. The Power Disc, that's Disc MD. The Power Disc Golf Academy, Lone Star Discs. Putting Confidently is down there. Friction Gloves is down there. I'm not sure my code still works, so I have to reach out to them and make sure they reestablish that. Hopefully they'll do that for me. And then putting, I already said Putting Confidently. D-Clip, support my buddy Hans down there. And I am working with Kevin from Putting Confidently, looking at a new putting app. So I'll be mentioning something about that coming up in a not too distant video. Lastly, I do want to do a Patreon. I want to set up Patreon, and right now I have two tiers in my mind. One is just a general tier for general support of the channel, a couple bucks a month if you want to help me support the channel and what I'm doing here. And then I am going to have a form review tier. I haven't worked out the exact specifics of that yet. I've been talking to people like Josh and Owen over at Trebuchet Disc Golf to see how they run things. And I'll, do a modified version of some things that they're doing that they know already work. So be looking out for that. And if you have anything in mind as like a Patreon tier that you want to see, just drop it in the comments below, and we'll see if we can get that set up. Okay, all the admin stuff out of the way. Let's get to the video today. And the number one arm issue that I see, and my number one arm issue that I deal with is dropping my elbow and shrugging my shoulder. So when we get into full breach back from here, right, and we try to get into the power pocket, we start to see the shoulder come up, we start to see the elbow drop. And when I see people asking for help in the Power Disc Golf Academy Facebook group, this is typically what I see, this position right here. Usually the disc is up here, the elbow's down, the shoulder is shrugged. So I fought this and still fight it. I still fight it. I'm a lot better now, but I still fight it. So what did I work on to help me diminish my shoulder shrug and my elbow drop and get my disc more clean into the power pocket? Before we go there, I want us to be clear on why we want to get the disc into the power pocket. Like, I think sometimes, like something in my head makes me think that people think that getting the disc into the power pocket infuses the disc with some cosmic mystic power. Think like Captain Marvel energizing and charging the disc into the power pocket until you blast it out of the power pocket. All this does is tells me that my disc path is correct, right? It doesn't really do anything. It doesn't charge your disc when it's in the power pocket. Having the disc get here just tells me that my disc path from full backswing to hit is correct, right? So there's nothing mystical about the power pocket itself. It's just an indicator that we're doing what is right. Right? And doing what is right is getting our disc from full backswing to hit as fast as possible. Right? I wish I had something that, wait 1 second. All right, see, yeah, cold and windy and snowy, but illustration time. That sled right there is my disc in full backswing, and I am the hit point. So what's the easiest way
and the fastest way to get that sled from there to me. This rope is my swing plane. This jump rope is my swing plane. What am I going to do? I'm going to pull it straight to me. Okay? It's the fastest way to get the disc from one point to me. And now say I have something in my way. What happens when I try to pull from my full backswing to my hit point? It looks a little something like this. I have to pull it around, which gets messy and sloppy and not very efficient.
Now, I can see a bunch of you saying,
Bunky, well, really, the disc path isn't exactly a straight line. And yes, that's how I hear the people that think they know more than me in my head.
a lot of people know more than me. Right? Just get that out of the way. Anyway, yes, exactly. It's not a perfectly straight line, but it needs to be as straight as possible. Right? We can argue the in out method. We can argue all that, but the disc path has to be as straight as possible. That's the quickest way between 2 points. It's just logic. Okay, so how do I get my disc from here to here as fast as possible? It passes through the power pocket. And if my shoulder is shrugged and my elbow is dipped, I can't get it here. I'm going to have to go around it. So what do? To get my disc into the power pocket, I keep my elbow up and out. Okay? The problem that we have, the issue is with how we start coming forward with the disc. And what is the one word that we associate with a disc golf throw? And people say it over and over and over again, starts with the letter P, and you saw it in the description. It's pull, right? Whenever somebody has a great drive off the tee box, hey, that's a great pull. And I get it, because honestly, that's what we're doing ish, right? It's a pull type of motion. The problem becomes that when we get the disc here and we think pull, what is the first thing that we're going to do when we pull? We're going to retract our shoulder, right? That's just the natural response of the human body. If you've been in the gym at any point and did back day, right? You do pull days. It's retracting shoulders, right? And this is a very natural, common, response to pulling a disc, is using all of this mass, right? The traps, the biggest muscle in your back by far. They start up here, they go all the way down to here, and they insert, or do they insert? Yeah, they insert at your shoulders, right? The entirety of your back is your traps. That's what people use to pull, right? It's a big muscle. So when we think pull, we're engaging that massive muscle to help us pull this disc forward. The problem is when you retract and then turn, you have no space to get the disc into the power pocket. And the force of it has you pulling up to try to force it in, and that's the shoulder shrug. Okay? So my thought had to move away from pulling the disc. If I thought about pulling the disc, I would retract and shrug and get caught. My elbow would drop. It was a mess. So what do I do now? I think about elbowing the door. And I heard this like years ago. And I think even Josh and I talked about it when I first started coaching with him about a year ago. It's the old elbow and slap. I had to get back to that. It was the only way that I could get my mind out of retracting my shoulder. Okay. So how do we do this correctly? Well, it's keeping the elbow up. Wrist is typically below elbow, right? You want that, but that's a different video. And then out, right? So you see here, my shoulder is neutral, and now, my shoulder is neutral, elbow up, but I want to push my shoulder out, right? It's like if you see me at a tournament and you haven't seen me in a long time, you want to give me a big hug, right? You reach your arms out, right? I'm protracting my shoulders. I'm pushing them forward. And that's what we want to do. We want to have this shoulder push forward. Elbow up, shoulder forward. And this is typically the position. Now, there's going to be some variableness right here. It's not strict regimented. You have to be here, right? And your body really isn't going to let you be here. It's going to protect your shoulder. Your shoulder is a very fragile joint, and it's going to protect your shoulder. So it's not going to let you be here, but we need to think about it being here. Because if we think about it being here, our miss will then be here. Because if we think about it being here, our miss is going to be down here, almost guaranteed, right? So we want to think about pushing out as far as we can and having the elbow as level as we can with our shoulder plane. This is the position that we want to think about. So that when we get into full backswing, I want to throw my elbow toward the front. Throw my elbow toward the front. Now, I get it. We want to move the hand quickly through the zone. And I talked to Mikey from Overthrow about this. I wanted to do some speed training. He's like, get your hand through the zone as fast as possible. The problem becomes if I think about my hand, I'm going to do this. So I needed to stop thinking about my hand and think about smashing something with my elbow. And that's my cue. So get back here, think about smashing something with my elbow, and then slapping with my hand. And that's the cue that I use. Now, again, you can fully protract your shoulder forward here, right? And try to keep it as protracted as you can. But at some point, it's going to pull back. At some point, you have to, right? But really, your body's trying to protect your shoulder. So you're not going to be fully protracted here, right? It's just not going to happen. It's going to retract some. But your mindset has to be, I want to be here. And then you'll end up being, in the middle ground of where you want to be. So let's go over how I work on this. All right, and this is fairly simple because as with everything, it's progressions, right? And I found one-legged is by far the easiest for me to focus on what my arm is doing. I take the lower body really completely out of it, right? So, and you can't see my feet. Hold on. All right, how's that? Okay. So, having my front foot out in front of me, my back foot giving me balance, but I'm usually on my toe, right? Have it staggered out so I can feel a little balance. Now, I saw a couple of the coaches that I'm on a Discord with talk about this, about how to really get at keeping that elbow up or shoulder protracted through your shot. And there's some debate back and forth. Extreme hyzer, I think, is the easiest way to practice this, right? So when I get into my one-legged stance, I really bend over and let gravity, right, really take over and let the arm just hang down, right? So I'm a pretty extreme. I'll show you. I'm at a pretty extreme hyzer angle here, right? Letting my shoulder just sort of protract down and hang there, and get my arm set in the power pocket, elbow up, shoulder protracted as far as I can, hyzering as far as I can, and then go back into my full backswing and then back here. Thinking about throwing my elbow at my target, right? Not thinking about my hand at all. Think about throwing my elbow at that target. And I do it real slow. Okay? And that's pretty much it for my first progression, right? Get in that one-legged, get in an extreme hyzer angle, let that shoulder hang down, and think about throwing the elbow forward really slow. And just repeating that over and over again. And as I get the feel for that, right, because we're all not going to throw every shot on this kind of crazy hyzer angle, as I get the feel, then I can start coming up and resisting gravity a little bit and doing the same thing. Okay? And all I care about right now is my arm path. I don't care about my hips. I don't care about my feet. I don't really care about my off arm. All I care about is getting that elbow up and out and then sending the disc to the hit. And from there, you can stand fully up and do a flat shot, and then you can do a one step, right? Go into your X step. Just work through your progressions. And it may take, do a week's worth, of single leg. All right, well, there you have it. As short as I can be. I know I'm very long-winded and I talk and I over-explain things, and I'm sorry about that. That's just who I am. But there you have it. That's what I've been doing to sort of work on my arm path and keeping my elbow up and trying to stop the collapsing and the shoulder raising. So try it out, see if it helps you if you have this issue, and I would venture to say most of the people that watch me do. But give it a shot and see what you think, see if it helps you out, and I hope it does. As always, thanks for tuning in and for all your support. If you're looking for the Patreon, if you have any ideas, again, put them down below. Until next time, enjoy the journey. Here's your verse of the day.